and welcome to another beautiful ass, magical ass moment in time, y'all. So, just came from bringing the little ones from the library, from homeschooling them. And it's pretty cool because there's a lot of history here in good old 10 IC. And what's deep is that I always show the girls another route, or we like to explore different routes because of the times that we're in. For example, because the lights are going out, are you in a position where you can still find your way through the dark and still know other routes, because the trains are going to block off specific routes. You're not going to be able to get to your location. We're right now at a park, and this park is directly across from a nuclear plant. Now this is deep because there's all type of emergency signs that are around us, and as I educate the girls, I always have them be very mindful of the signs and their surroundings that surround them. So we read everything. I mean, every single thing that we see. So these signs are talking about, the emergency information that needs to be known, because we are literally at a park directly across from a nuclear plant, right? So what's interesting is when I went to go purchase land and farmland for my family, we found a home that we really liked. However, we did not purchase the home, and we turned down the home because the home was, literally right next to a nuclear plant. And if anyone knows the story Aaron Brockovich and that whole movie, and that's what motivated me to even go to law school, me to, go deep into learning what I know about life and nature and just being a strong divine feminine. It's a really great movie. You should go check it out. But I don't think it's no coincidence that I'm here at this specific nuclear plant, because I am FEMA certified in helping with disaster preparedness. So I got my certification in Los Angeles years ago. However, I've always been certified because, like I told y'all, I was born for this, DNA coded for this. So what I'm sharing with y'all is this: majority of the evacuation routes, if you have not yet taken the evacuation routes in your area, they all go in a full circle. Now, what's interesting about this specific evacuation route is that it is very near a nuclear plant, which means that there's already listings up here at the park that is instructing everyone that if anything happens, there will be sirens that will go off, and then the police will show up to make an announcement with a bullhorn, and then you have to follow the blue line, and they will basically seize your car in a specific line where you will not be able to enter any other zone or area except for the direction that they are going to be pulling you in. Now, this is not just for this area, this is for all of America. Many of you are not only not prepared for when the lights go out for more than 2 weeks, you're not prepared for when the lights go out for more than 6 months on your own. So many people are going to be giving up. So many people are going to be turning themselves in because they're not going to know what else to do, because they're going to be too hungry to try to think for themselves, so they're just going to give up. How prepared are you even in having your family prepared for emergencies? Like, for example, do you even have some type of emergency backpack in your car? Our family rule specifically is that we are at lake sites like this all day, every day, all the time. We love exploring. We love nature. We just, I homeschool. So, like my daughter tells everyone who asks her, she absolutely loves her life. And it is beautiful being a farmer. It is very refreshing being one with nature and being in a place to understand the farmer's almanac even that much more, but knowing that I am the farmer's almanac. So many of these children around here, once these specific, as I was explaining to my daughter, once these specific missiles come up out of the ground, the children and the people that are around that are going to be affected by this, it's going to be on an all-time scale high. We are about to see the world's greatest, let's say, distinction of man, or the kind of man thereof. And so many children will be left parentless, and children are already now performing their own gangs, getting their own friendship groups together to protect them during those times. So many people are already prepared and in place. And living where I live, I see my fellow neighbors and I'm like, wow, I thought I was the only one on this, but they are so ready and already have their groups together, their teams together. People around us are practicing for this or that. But my thing to you is, what are you going to do when all of your supplies run out? Because so many people can say that they have so much all day long, but how will you survive if you had absolutely no supplies? That's the question. Do you know which plants are around you? Which vegetation is around you? Do you know the bugs? What about the toiletry system? Do you know how to discard of your own feces? What about sterilize your own water? What about make your own fire when it's wet outside, when it's been raining all week? What about when it's ice outside? How do you make your own fire? How do you keep that fire going? How do you discard of your toiletries when you don't have a shovel, or you don't have the supplies to, or if you are smelling your neighbors, because that could be toxic to you? This is why you see garbage plants and sewage plants way out, because it has to be disposed of in a specific manner. There's a lot that we were either miseducated on or never educated on. And right now, instead of tapping into the latest gossip or drama, I'll be trying to tap into what can I do, which plant can I learn, which plant is Gypsy, get Gypsy, need a squirrel. Gypsy, come. Really? Gypsy, no. Gypsy, bad Gypsy, bad Gypsy, bad Gypsy, Gypsy, bad Gypsy, bad Gypsy, come here. Gypsy, come. Gypsy, Gypsy, no. Gypsy, bring your butt. Gypsy, why? Gypsy, I said no. Come here. You tripping. Don't be chasing the squirrels. You're not at home. I already told you about that. Stop doing that. You can't be breaking it loose from me either. Please stop. I'm just not in the Gypsy mood, okay? Do you mind? And then you're not even listening when I'm calling you. And that's why you got put on doggy time out, because you be tripping. Sit down. Sit. Gypsy, sit. Sit down. You ain't going nowhere. Sit down, Gypsy. Gypsy, sit. Gypsy, really? Gypsy, sit your ass down. Gypsy, sit down. Sit. Gypsy, down. Sit down. Sit. Okay. All right, you gonna try to play me? All right. Okay. You tripping. No, you ain't getting away this time. And don't drag me either. Chasing squirrels. She tripping. And I gotta put it under my shoe. She ain't getting away this time. I think what you guys are mainly, what I'm being shown that y'all are all in a shock for, is all of a sudden finding yourself in a position where there's absolutely no power. Zero. Gone. How will you cook? What if your little gardens that you've been growing have not already preserved their food or got enough food up for you to eat? Potatoes are very fast. You can take like a bag of russet potatoes from the store and take them and put them in the ground, and then basically they'll spread out. But the thing, what I've noticed is that even with propane, or it takes a lot of propane to cook them if you want to make like cut potatoes. You can, when you want to start potatoes, you have to start with specific wood, and then you have to start early in the morning, or beans, and that's, you definitely need a cast iron pot. You need cast iron. Cast iron, y'all will be safe with cast iron. 2 if you can, but at least 1 of the big cast iron, because you're gonna need that for your fires. And then also it keeps in the smell of the food. You will also need to learn ways that you can keep a fire going without lighter fluid, because that's a big thing there, and it is, you go through lighter fluid very fast. Another thing also is there's going to be no toilet paper. Zero. But there are specific leaves that you can use that are also edible leaves, that are also leaves that cleanse the system and rid your body of parasites. And we will be selling a lot of those products, as we are now, from our specific paradise. And what we love about it is that your specific pharmacies will not be selling these things and or will be closed, and the pharmacies that did sell these specific things are overseas, and being that there's a shipping war, a lot of these items will not be available to you in the store, but we have access to them. Another thing that we have found ourselves in a position of is being in a place where we are native to the land, and we have been brought back to an area of the original Trail of Tears. So we have found ourselves in a specific neighborhood where we have been discriminated against. The neighbors, they charge them basically $50 for power. But for us, they want to charge us starting $3,500 for power. So we've been pretty much off grid, because not because of the money of it, but because we're like looking at really the science of everything. We're asking the trees, what do they want us to do? You know, because our ancestors, they lived off grid. So I guess the people at the power company felt like they were hurting us in some way, shape, or form. But what God Almighty has shown us is not only how to put our own windmills on our property, but now people will have to come to us for power. People will have to come to us for water. People will have to, even the power company that want to charge us $3,500 starting at and have us remove some trees, they will be coming to us for power. So God is not playing about his children, about his remnant. God is doing exceedingly abundantly above all things that we can ever ask for. And in these times right now, you have to find other alternatives to look outside the box. Because I could have just been like, oh man, they ain't giving me power. How am I going to come up with this money? What am I going to do? But I really know that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I know that I'm in a position where I can, let's just say, make the most out of my situation, because there's no problems. These are all mere opportunities to prove my greatness. No, babe, don't go into the water without me.
Okay. Can I play in the sand?
Yeah, in the sand, but don't go into the water without me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And stay close by, everybody, okay? So we have been positioned to make a decision to keep the trees in its natural element, knowing that we are connected to the universe, knowing that we are connected to nature. Your lights are going out. You're going to run out of food. People are going to be surrendering to the probable cause at hand, because people are going to be very cold. So they're going to give in and say, well, if we just go down to that center and just sign up, there's heat there. That's not true. Or if we just go down to that center and sign up, then at least we'll eat tonight, and at least the children will have something. People will be signing up saying, well, I don't want my child to suffer, so let me just go ahead and put them on this bus. Even we learned from Louisiana or Hurricane Katrina, when them people put them babies on them planes, on them helicopters, and on them buses, they never seen them children till this day. So don't be sticking y'all babies on no helicopters, no planes, talking about it's a rescue mission, and y'all don't even know them people and where they going and where they taking y'all babies. Also, show your babies the way by not doing it for them. I saw a 5-year-old little boy bagging groceries in Rosarito, Mexico. American children have become so spoiled by television, program coding that are encryptions of nanobots that communicate with the chips that have been embedded within them. I'm too deep for some, too real for many. But what's most empowering about the times that I'm in and the times that we're in right now is building connections and relationships with even your guides. Who's walking with you? What power do they have? What power do they give you? If you are vibrating from the frequency of love, they will allow you to see them. They will allow you to know that they're there. You can build specific relationships right now with even, let's say, the predators. Remember the predators from the movie The Predator? They look just like they do from the movie The Predator. They look just like, they blend in with the trees, and then they look like invisible. My daughter was like, how does invisible look? Where their frequency, like their outer lighting of their body is electricity. So you can see them, but you can see them. It's like a Casper the Ghost type of thing. But they're walking with us. And God forbid that somebody try something. A lot of Neos, a lot of Mr. Smiths are walking amongst us. They have been revealing themselves more. But if you look at them, you can feel into their frequency. There's a numbness. And when you stare at them, when you look at them, you'll actually hear their chip go. When you have eyes to see, you can watch the watchers watching others. When you have knowledge of self, you are in a space where you have become so connected to the universe that it doesn't matter what they say, what they do, what they think, how they feel. You know the truth. And you walk in the power thereof. And the people that you meet on a daily basis, you touch their lives and you make people smile and you make people happy. And people pass you up and they're just like, who is that? Who is that lady? What just happens in my day? Like, I really influence so many people, from the grocery store clerks. I'm always meeting so many people and making people laugh and telling jokes and just being in the now. And leaving an impact on lives in a world that's hurting so much versus, people are very suspicious anyways. I feel like they're very suspicious of each other. You do have to watch everything, even yourself. Build your relationships with your pets around you, your children, of course. But most importantly, your loved ones. Talk to them as much as you can while you can right now. But at the same time, don't spend too much time trying to do that, because you're distracting yourself, because these are the times where we truly are stepping into our superpower. And if you're going to spend more time focusing on what somebody's not doing or what they're doing, or how come they're not getting ready, or how come they're not aware of this, then you're going to do yourself a disservice. Because trust me when I say that those people, they're going to come running. They thought you were crazy all day, but they are going to come running. They're going to be like, maybe she wasn't so bad after all. But at the same time, how can you trust those people? Because they come with a whole nother encoding and decoding that now you have to watch yourself with, because you don't know when their specific CHIP is going to get turned on, and then they will be in a position of being zombified. How many people in your home will be in danger because you weren't paying attention? Because someone chose to use the time right now instead of preparing with you. They chose to use this time to chase after the treasures and the wealth of this world. That's an illusion. That's not going to be there in the first place. What relationships are they building with you personally right now to let you know that if things came down to it, if it came to push and shove, are you the one that's busy letting people know around you that you down for them, that they can trust you no matter what, ride or die? Are they speaking the same language to you? And not just speaking the same language to you, are they portraying the same language as well in their actions, deeds, ways, thoughts? Do they think you crazy? Because if they think you're crazy, and if y'all are on two separate pages with two separate presidential sides, those are not even real people. Those are frequencies that's going to show y'all the level and the ley line that y'all are walking up on. That goes to show you they're thinking from the left side of the or right side of the brain, and you're thinking from the left side of the brain. That's all that means. Trust me when I say that the puppeteers that are involved, they're playing both sides. They give the same exact amount of money for both sides to fight a WAR than they do the other side. They'll give the other side more dollars than the other. The thing about it, you don't get caught up in deception. You don't get caught up in the unnecessary roughness. I took the class, the FEMA disaster preparedness class and got my certification in that because I wanted to make sure that I was able to make it out of Los Angeles with my daughters if, this thing went down when I was in LA. But we took the evacuation routes, and the evacuation routes go in circles. So it made me very much aware that even we just came out of a circle now, this evacuation route goes in a circle. So people are going to be going in circles until specific department and teams come and get them and begin to take them into specific camps. That's where we're at. You're going to begin to see military begin to pop up all over the United States, and they're going to begin to start beginning to place themselves at every single border, as well as then they're going to start in the city lines. A lot of the bridges are going out. There's going to be a big flood that's going to come in from Texas, and it's going to hit the fault line of Tennessee and Illinois. And all that's going to be split off, the South into Florida, that's going to be split off. So America is going to be split up in 9 different pieces. That's because the Decepticons split up God's people. And God said, because of that, because you split up my children, I'm now going to split up you. If your family and your friends are not building with you now or making effort to try to get to know your environment, to try to get to see how y'all going to even mold together when this whole thing goes down, it's not going to be too good if you try to do it once everything go down. Because they will be the first ones that will freak out. They'll be the first ones that will feel weird, feel like something ain't right. And you got to be mindful of who's in your camp too, because if one person in your camp get upset with you and they say, even if you got to ration food, and they be like, well, why we got to only ration so much food? This single mom may have 3 kids and she's pregnant, but I'm skinny and I'm hungry, and you forget that. And you may tell them you can't have this amount of food. You can't have this medicine. And then they'll get upset with you, and they'll go down the street to the house down the street, and they'll tell all them people in the house down the street, hey, them people up there, they got some food, they got some medicine. And then what position does that put you and your whole camp in? That's why you have to make sure that whoever's in your camp loves God. Simple as that. Because if they don't love God, God Almighty that is, they are going to love this world. And the Bible clearly says, be ye in the world, but not of it. But even God's people know that. But they don't care. It's like they are trying to see how much time they got. Like, for example, people ask me all the time in the comment section, like, hey, what day is the 3 days of darkness? Do you think I know? I just tell you to prepare. God says no man knows the day or the hour, and just as sure as lightning strikes from the east to the west, so shall it be with the coming of the Son of Man. That's all we should know, right? But what's deep about it is, if you knew what time the 3 days of darkness was coming, if you knew what time these ailments were going to hit, God says there will be no sign except for the sign of Jonah, the prophet, that we should be looking for in these times. But if you knew exactly when it was going to strike, then you would party all the way up until the very last second and see how much dirt you can get away with. The thing about it is, living life, living in fullness every day, being at peace with yourself, being at peace with God Almighty, just who you are. Oh my gosh, it feels like God is hugging us every day. It's so refreshing to give y'all messages, to help y'all from a stance, from a place where, I got laughed at and ridiculed so much about being in a time zone of the no, and knowing, yes, y'all, this is going to happen. Y'all know it. Y'all feel it. I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. Let others not believe. Let others doubt. Let others not prepare. But don't let that be you. Because the time is here and the time is now. But what counts the most is, if your heart is on a frequency of love, you are going to regulate and dominate the hour, because you are going to draw in like-minded friends and frequencies from places that you would never even known of. Like, I've been making friends with like some seniors in my area, and we're talking about, European seniors too, that know about the OG ancestral bloodline of the Trail of Tears. And if I ask them for any advice or tell them I'll be by to help you whenever you need my help, See, you be cool with the seniors, that's the mama nest. The elders is the mama bird nest, and everybody respects them. So when they respect them, they're not going to put you in a position to disrespect you. But these mama bird seniors have been they've been literally telling me what to do and telling me how to get down. And I've been absorbing every single advice that they've been telling me, because they're better than Google, and they are hella better than the library that buries lies. Our seniors have become extinct and are becoming extinct. What can you learn from them? That's the question. Gypsy don't let you playing when it comes to me, huh? Smile, you're one candid camel. Where you go, Gypsy? Huh? Where you go? Where you go, Gypsy? Huh? Huh? He disappeared? Don't worry about it. We'll get him together. He'll wish you'd have never tried it with the Wonder Team. Me and you, right? Because you've been getting a little OG gangster lately, especially with the squirrels. Anyways, y'all, I'm going to go for now and enjoy this lovely walk back to my car, because this is a nuclear area. But I wanted to just stop for a minute because I didn't think it was no coincidence that I went to the library around the corner. But I happened to stop over here to use their, bathroom and look at the beautiful water, but also paid attention to the signs. And just had to let y'all know that America is literally on the brink of WAR. Literally. And I strongly feel with all of my might and all of my power that God had me stop here and give y'all a message, to give y'all another warning. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to chime in. I don't know how much more I will be able to assist you with the best way that I can. I already told y'all before, if you're looking for special messages, something regarding your own personal life, look in the description box below, and I'll go to, my guides and work with your ancestors and our whole universal spiritual team and see what we need to get to you message-wise. And I channel that from my specific land. So look in the description box below to tell y'all how to get that to me, and I'll get the messages out to y'all. Other than that, just enjoy the now. Do what you can to enjoy the now. But most importantly, find a way to be at peace and to love and to not be stressing, because the way that you are getting movement right now is your own personal currency. That's your own personal energy. So if you're vibrating from a frequency of hate, you're going to get hate. If you're vibrating from a frequency of love, you're going to exhibit love all around you, from people, places, and things that will blow your mind. Well, let me get my babies out of here before our left side of our face starts melting off. Just kidding. No, I'm not. And before Gypsy takes off again. She was on a doggy timeout for 2 days. Wasn't that boring, Gypsy? Huh? But I think maybe she's learning a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, y'all, I love y'all. Most importantly, see what you can do right now to try to get more beans and rice, because you can use wood, and you're going to need an axe. So try to find an axe or a saw, a hand saw. That's very important. An axe, a hand saw, even land. A specific area where you can pitch a tent if you had to. A tent. Tents are going up. When I bought 4 tents, and some way, somehow, 3 of them mysteriously disappeared in my move. But I got one of the tents. At the time, I paid, I think it was like, $40 for it, $49 for it. But that same exact tent is now $149. So if you can, try to invest in a little tent, because you never know if you need that little tent. And there are state parks, if you had to stay at a state park, and you can, I think it's a membership for It's like $2,000 a year, and you can stay at any state park for like $2,000 a year. Look that up. I forgot what that is. But that's for those of you out there who are really having it hard with your homes, or you're struggling in some way, shape, or form. But you're going to have to find a way, something near fire and water you're going to need. If you can, go in with a friend on land to just try to get out the way. And I would say that it's the best thing that I've ever done, best thing I've ever been a part of. And just the learning experience, the journey alone is amazing. Like we were talking about when we went to the river this morning, we were talking about how living in the city, we would just run up to the water and just, jump in the water or be by the rocks. But now living in the mountains, we go up to the water and then start looking around on the ground for snakes and spiders and scorpions before we sit on the rock, and then we proceed to the water. So the mountain teaches you a lot, more or less about yourself, but it strengthens you also. It strengthens you, and all the great leaders in the Bible end up having a mountaintop experience. And I will say that the mountain teaches you a lot about yourself and your strengths. My shed broke because the wind blew it over, and I couldn't finish it, but I didn't want to give up. So I took some duct tape and duct taped the shed together, the rest of it. And then the wind blew it halfway over, but the duct tape was so strong that it still kept half the shed up. So we just re-duct taped the rest of the shed. And it's really cool because, like I said, we don't get to cry and be like, ain't nobody helping me with my shed. I needed my shed put together, so I duct taped, the rest of my shed together. And that duct tape is working. So, I love nature. I love how things are going with this whole journey of off-grid. It feels good to call this light company even and say, nah, we don't need y'all lights, we cool. So I canceled the appointment. I love living off-grid, and having lights causes a white noise that makes the birds not chirp in their natural element, and it makes you not be able to connect with nature, because now there is a radiation that's coming through the lights and the pole lines and things of that nature. So there's nothing more like being connected to earth, to nature, to the times, knowing what's coming in, having the trees work with you, having the birds sing to you, learning the sounds of the different birds, learning the warnings of the birds, seeing the crows when they come in to warn you, knowing what it's like after you say a mighty prayer and look up in the sky and there's 17 eagles circling the car as you're driving, knowing what it's like to start a chicken coop and the different wiring that it takes to start that chicken coop, and knowing what it's like to start a garden and then to make a path and then have to watch for snakes, and learning that putting all this firewood near my tiny homes creates a snake bed, and then having to still walk around and not be afraid of snakes and go study about snakes. So if I ever had to grab a snake to kill it, what do I do? Versus running and screaming for help, because I'm my own help. Then teaching my little ones, showing the little ones what to do. Yeah, only the strong survive in this. I hurt my knee really bad while I was moving. I didn't get to stop and say, oh, my knee hurts, I need to go to the hospital, give me a crutch. Nah, I was limping on one knee, and I got everything moved out and done and lifted and packed and tucked away and put together, because that's what you do in the survival of the fittest. Let me see what I can go through to help y'all pantry-wise out there, as far as food is concerned, because that's not your biggest challenge, and that is collecting the food. But what I feel is the best idea for you, because you may not have an opportunity to cook that food, or what if you don't get enough food? My recommendation to many of y'all would be to find out what's in your land, like what trees are in your backyards, which plants and vegetations are around you, which ones are edible, which ones are poisonous, which ones can you cook the poison out of. I have a disaster preparedness link that we started with a class of mine that I did about 3 years ago, and it's packed with countless information for disaster preparedness. Those links are 143 for you to be a part of that specific group, and then you will get the information that's backed for about almost 4 years ago, and then you'll still be a part of my specific announcements for that specific disaster group, like when emergency things are happening, or say we get disconnected from each other some way, shape, or form. I will still be tapping into that specific group. I haven't advertised it in a while because I've been doing so much, but I do feel that it's a good time. It's, like I said, packed with information, packed with not just information, but also lessons from different states and counties and countries that we can learn from. Also real-time information. So let me know if y'all interested. If not, then I'll just keep it moving and we'll just go with what we're going with here. But for those of y'all who are interested, it's pretty jam-packed and it's pretty fun. Other than that, y'all, it's crunch time, but I know it's like last minute things too. So whatever you can do to try to get your house in order, but learn the plants and vegetations around you. Learn the different trees. That's what's important. Because you're going to have to know the leaves. You have to know which ones is poison ivy. You got to know which ones is, beefsteak plants and for medicines, and, banana leaves. You got to know, which ones have the fig leaves. There's a lot of stuff y'all got to know. It's so much. I've been practicing this for years, so it's like right here at the top of my head what you need to know. But most importantly, let me try to get to y'all what I can that is most vital that you have to know before the power goes out. So I'll try to focus on that in the next couple of days in my videos, all right? Because we don't know how much longer we'll be able to record or you'll be able to get these messages. If you are able to get these messages, good. If we have more time, that's even more grander. If not, then we ready, because God said he was not gonna let anything happen until his remnant are ready. So that means we ready then. Are you? All right, y'all. I love y'all. If you feel that I have helped you in some way, shape, or form, and you'd like to donate to my ministry, the information to that is in the description box below. Never feel led to give to a ministry unless you check with God, and God will let you know what to do. But know that when you are taking care of God's people, God also takes care of you. All right? I love y'all, and I love yourself. Gotta go. Peace. Bye.